Hello friends, this is Arun. I am from Atlanta, Georgia. Today we are going to talk about a lot of good stuff, a lot of new things that we haven't learned so far. And this is coming from a great master who lives in Cumming, Georgia, in Atlanta. He's none other than Praveen Pippiri. He's actually by default like he's an IT graduate, but he's more into spirituality. He has done a lot of stuff in his life. He's experimenting every now and then with a lot of stuff from his side. I cannot introduce himself like just a software engineer or a software architect, but he's more than that. He actually lives by as an example to many masters like us. He teaches to a lot of people into the counseling stuff. He's into a lot of Rig Vedas, Upanishads, all that stuff. Not just that, he implements everything in his life with whatever he has learned so far. So let's learn more, dive deep into what he's actually talking about today. The topic name is Vāyu Purāna. Even I am not sure about like what exactly is Vāyu Purāna. So I wanted to learn from him. Wanted to just join me to introduce Mr. Praveen Pippiri. Thank you so much. And he's the man behind a lot of activities done through Atlanta Pyramid Meditation Academy. He's the man behind everything. So on this occasion, I would like to thank him, give my gratitude, give my shout out. Whatever we are doing today, everything in every part, he's involved. So I wanted to thank you for all the services that Praveen is providing to this platform. Yeah, please, Praveen, the stage is all yours. Please enlighten us today.
Thank you, Arun. And I think that is a very, very heavy introduction. So definitely, as a team, we're all working together and joyously, we're just enjoying our life. And that's all I can say. So let me share my screen, and with that, I can actually start. And again, let me first let me see. Okay, I hope you can see my screen. Right?
Praveen, do immerse,
What happened? Sorry.
share video,
Oh,
and then
didn't share the video?
yeah. So
Am I
what you can do is in the share, you have an option like presentation in the options.
right? Right
Select
now, please.
presentation.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right. Okay. So don't want. Okay. Share the PowerPoint. It's
yeah,
okay. Hope you can see the PowerPoint. Right?
yeah. You can.
Okay. So this is a very new topic to me as well. Actually, in fact, I just came across this topic, Vayu Purana, uh, just like a few days ago. And frankly, I just touched upon this topic, but it was so irresistible that in fact I asked organizers to change the topic to Vayu Purana because I felt like sharing with you all and talking about it, right? So what is Vayu Purana? Right? By name suggests it's a Purana talking about Vayu. But unlike any other Purana, this is actually slightly different. So I'll just give a 1 minute of background story of what happened. See, when I think the rishis wrote Vedas, they actually felt that the Vedas are at a very, very high level. It's just not able to reach to the common man. And Vyasa was thinking about it, and he was actually meditating. And in his meditation, Vayu came, and Vayu actually gave him the idea how you can actually bring this wisdom to the common people, and that's how the Puranas came. And since the Lord Vayu actually gave him the idea, so Vyasa started writing the Purana on the Vayu, and this is the first Purana. Hardly, I mean, we generally don't hear about the Vayu Purana much, right? There are some other Puranas that we talk about it. So that is more very interesting for me. And okay, fine. Vedavasa wrote this Purana, but what is it all about, right? It actually talks about, I mean, it's one of the very large Puranas, but if I break down into what exactly teaches me, it teaches me about the cosmology. And that's interesting. And genealogy is basically all the gods and the kings, great kings that ruled India and pretty much across the world at that moment. So how their lineage and everything came down, and the sacred geography, right, which are the areas which were actually sacred in terms of the energies that they represent, right? And then talks about the philosophy and dharma. So, yeah, I mean, that was okay for me when I looked at it. But then I started looking at it. Why is cosmology coming in? Okay. So, when I was started looking into it, the Purana starts about talking about the Hiranyagarbha, which is the cosmology. Then I started opening my mind. Why is that a lot of Puranas talk about the Hiranyagarbha or even the Samudra Manthan, right? Then realize that this is not about an individual story. This is the story of a cosmos. And why should we learn about the cosmos, right? So that's how I started reading about it. Okay, fine. What exactly is a cosmos? So it is cosmos is, I mean, Hiranya Garbha, that is Hiranya is a golden, Garbha is a womb or a golden womb or a golden egg. That's another way of stating. But it is basically the Sanskrit word is a Hiranya Garbha, right? So what happens is it's basically this is a primordial form of a cosmos, the consciousness, or you could call Paramatma, before the universe is created, right? It only has infinite potential, unmanifested potential, because it is not manifested. The universe is not created. And then it has the desire to express itself. So until that, it is just an inert state, which is basically Jada. It is inert state, right? And then through the desire, the Vāyu created, which is basically a movement created. So just be careful when I'm intentionally spacing out this word. So through the movement, the basically the once the movement intensified, the break actually collapsed, right? Break basically yeah. So collapsed. So with that, the universe has created. So what it means is, and with that, I mean, once the break was collapsed, the universe has created, and that's slowly it continued to expand itself, and all of the like planets, stars, and everything is slowly started forming. So our origin of a universe starts from the primordial form, which started having a desire to express, and before the Vayu, nothing. And what did Vayu do? Vayu created the movement, and through the movement, it converted unmanifested to the manifestation form. And the movement is time. If you look at it, movement we can call a kala or we can call a space. Because without movement, there is no space and there is no time. So what it means is, without time and space, there is nothing, like the 3D world does not really exist at all, right? So, okay, and so what it means is Vayu was the reason to actually move from unmanifested to the manifestation. Okay. Now, I will not fill the story fully, completely here, but I'll just move on to our next example, and then I'll talk about it. Why am I stressing the Hiranyagarbha, right? I think all of you know about the story of a Samudra Manthan. And again, you see, pretty much most Puranas talk about the Samudra Manthan. But why should all the Puranas talk about the Samudra Manthan, right? That is where we are missing the point. So in the Puranas, I think we know it's a Mandara, that's a Mount Mandara was being used as a rod and to churn the ocean and throw the Vasuki, a snake, where basically churn the ocean. And from that, all of the like Siddhis came, Devas came, Asuras came, and Amrita came, right? Amrita is a nectar of life. And that, so basically, again, what we are trying to say, from the unmanifested form to the manifested form, world, I mean, the universe is created. But who are all these players in this? So initially, when the Mount Mandara was being used, it was unstable. And it is Vāyu that actually stabilized it. And then the same thing with Vasuki. When the Vasuki was, because of this a lot of fusion, right? Vasuki was throwing fumes, a lot of fire, you would say. Again, it is a lot Vāyu which actually balanced it. So through that balance and the stabilization and through the churning process, the rest of the elements came. So what are we trying to say? What Vāyu is the behind? What is the reason to stabilize, to nurture, and to help us in converting of unmanifested to the manifestation? Right? This is the story, but we don't really go to the details. But why do we need to go to this story? Right? Now we know we know the Panchabhutas, right? Pretty much these Panchabhutas created from the manifestation of the primordial force. And Vayu is the binding force for across all of them, right? So this is only one-way street. Now, just if I have to say, let's say if I have to go to Arun's place, let's say if I have to take a Peachtree Parkway, if Arun has to come to my house, again he has to take the Peachtree Parkway, right? So that is the story that we missed. So far, we were only talking about a one way, which is what, how the universe has created, how the Saupudra Manthan has done. But what we missed was, if I have to go back to the origin, then I have to go to the same bridge. So in all the three stories, the bridge is Vayu. So all you got to do to convert from the manifested to the unmanifest, to connect to the primordial consciousness, you just hold on to Vayu. And that is the message it is actually trying to tell us. And that is the essentially that's all about the cosmology. And that's all about all the Panchabhutas are actually created. But we look here it as a story and probably, and we'll leave it there. But the real story is understand that understand that Vayu is a bridge, and use the bridge to go back to the unmanifested form or the primordial form or the supreme consciousness. That's the message that they're actually trying to tell us. Now, let's me just to take an example. Okay, this is me performing an Agrihotram a couple of years ago. As Arun was saying, right? I was brought up in a Vedic family who's more following the Vedic rituals at that point in time. So what we were doing, this was a standard practice thousands of years ago, right? So typically what they do, they provide samagri, which is basically kind of it's like a kind of a powder, you would say, but it is, I mean, the technical word is samagri, and samida is basically mango stick or any other sticks that provides the right I mean, that will actually burn quickly, and it has its own some scientific equations which I don't want to get into that. We'll use that samagri and samida and use the ghee, and we'll burn. We'll basically we will give it to Agni, fire, and while we're doing that, with a clear intent, we'll utter Vedic mantras, right? Mostly the hymns came from Rig Veda or Yajur or all of these Vedas. Some of the Vedas, I mean, some of the mantras we actually select and then we harmony. So what happens to that, right? We will consider as a ritual and we'll leave it there. But what's happening is, we are taking a Artha Tattva and the Jala Tattva, which is the ghee, and we are adding into the fire, that is the third layer, and passing it to the air, to the upper worlds. So that is their way of communicating to the upper realms is through this ritual. And that is something people haven't understood. So what I'm trying to say, again, they're using Vayu as a medium to pass that messages, whatever the intent that we wanted to convey in terms of feeling grateful about the universe creation, in terms of feeling very happy about what we are doing, or in terms of the corrections that we wanted to do, using that mantra, which is a sound energy, and through the earth element and symbolic elements we are using and passing it to the across. So they're actually trying to tell us to connect to the primordial consciousness, use the Vāyu, and just connect with the primordial consciousness. That's all it is. It is the connecting to the consciousness. That's a very sophisticated way. Maybe not everyone understands it. So the ritualistic form method was created. But slowly this ritual translated to just now, I mean, I think even now what we do, we just put a fire, maybe a small lamp, and then we do the puja with some kind of mantras. We do with the water. But again, the intent is same. It is just the intent is diluting. All we are trying to do is through these elements, we're actually trying to reach across the primordial consciousness, right? Again, now if you notice, these 5 elements corresponding to the Panchabhutas, corresponding to the 5 chakras, right? And pretty much most of the people know that while we do the meditation, right, we are actually trying to cleanse up our root chakra, sacral, and solar plexus. Once these 3 chakras are aligned, we can let it go, because then the energy flows through the Anahata chakra, and you don't have to really worry about the remaining chakras so much. So all you got to do is the first 3 chakras, which is fear, greed, the root chakra, which is about fear, greed, grief, and all of those aspects, and the sacral, which is about the creation, and the expressions in this pleasure world, and the next one is creative force, right? Once we balance these through the desire, right? We will only, once we align our soul plan with these desires, then we will be fully aligned with our soul plan, and then we can connect to the consciousness. So all of these rituals are actually trying to tell us that. So normally we don't really get to that point when we read these Puranas, but for me, what I felt was more than the stories of the Purana, I felt there is so much message about the Vāyu, because Vāyu is not really seen, right? Vāyu is basically, it sits in the background. It actually puts other elements in the front. And we kind of fooled by those other elements. We look at only other elements. But what we needed to do is, while we experience this earth through all of this, we needed to know that we have to understand the binding force, which is the Vāyu. And through the binding force, we should be able to connect back to the universe. There's just one funny example. I mean, it's not really example, it's a story. Some time ago, there is a competition among the gods, talk about who is best, right? So then they basically says that, okay, these are the 5 gods, right? So this says, okay, fine, you uh, relinquish your boon or your powers, and then see what happens. So when Indra says, when the moment he relinquished, is like all the water will go away. I mean, the thunders and all of that. So of course, people will face the problems. When the Surya relinquishes, then everything becomes a darkness. Same thing with Varuna Deva, the entire water goes away. So, but when the Vayu relinquishes, there is no life, because Vayu is a prana. So then pretty much instantly everyone agrees that yes, we are all important, but without Vayu, we are just not existent at all. So that is just a funny way the story is all about. Just someone, of course, talking about the binding force, but but what it actually, another message it is trying to convey was, uh, you use all of these, I mean, again, 5 materials, use that materials, but latch on to the Vayu Tattva, and that's how you connect back to the primordial consciousness, right? So there are, I mean, of course, I know that we have very small, short time, but I'll just briefly talk about. We have 5 forces. The way the prana comes into our us, right? It actually basically 5 forces. Prana is basically the cosmic life. Apana, which is basically an exhalation process. Samana is basically distributing or equally sending across, and Udana, that any knowledge, any Vāyu that goes from the throat to this level, basically the knowledge aspects of it, and the Vana is the distribution, right? So when you notice the air has the same 5 characteristics, like a breeze, thunderstorm, and all of those. And same, what happens within the body is also same. So what I'm trying to convey is that what happens within the cosmos is exactly same as what happens within our body. So how the cosmos created is from the primordial consciousness or from the Samudra Manthan it is came right into the manifested form. To go to that stage, all you got to do is cross the bridge. Similarly, you latch onto the Vāyu, you just witness the Vāyu. That's how you connect back to the primordial consciousness. So if I mean one of the simpler ways are mantras and vibrations, or even the affirmations in our base, or the visualizations. These are all the techniques which are actually helps us as a beginning, and then we will basically we will witness the breath, and from witnessing the breath, we'll connect back to the consciousness. So that is our goal, and when we start noticing that, what is I mean, while Vayu is great and all, Vayu is actually nothing but our soul. So in fact, I've been all my life, I've been told that we are a Jivatma, and our journey is about a Jivatma to Paramatma. That's all about fine. That's a theory, right? But can I see the Jivatma? I can't really see it because Atma, it cannot be seen. But the closest of a Jivatma is a living breath. So why do I have to worry about Atma Sakshatkaram and others, which of course we'll get it? Instead, the closest resemblance is just a breath. So worship breath like a god and witness the breath every moment, and that will take you out, that will take you to the consciousness, is the point that I'm trying to say. Because when the breath started, right? Breath started from the primordial consciousness and it went on to expand. Similarly, when it contracts, it goes back to its source. So we also came, just like the breath came, we came from the primordial consciousness. Now we are expanding, experiencing this life in this form, right? So when we go back as a soul, the Jivatma, it goes back to the same source. So the journey of a breath is journey of a soul. There is no beautiful, I would say, instrument than the breath that created by this universe. All we got to do is don't worry about unknown or unseen things. Just latch on to the breath, ride along the breath. It will take you to the whatever is needed. That's the message I wanted to convey. And breath is actually detached because breath is not part of our body, and it just does whatever it needs to do. So that's like same thing with the soul, right? We are not really the soul just takes this costume and it experiences its life. But once this experience is over, soul goes back to its source. So there is so much stories between, like, if we understand the breath, we understand the universe. We don't really have to make it very complex. We just have to make it simple. Just work with the breath and it will take care. So that's another message I wanted to convey. And one more example I wanted to say. When uh, during most of the Ayurveda, yoga, and other aspects of the other aspects, they would actually teach us a lot of exercises which are around the breath. Could be pranayama, could be nadi shodhana, or could be maybe some more kriyas, right? All of them are trying to control the breath. But what they are trying to do is because we know that the breath is nothing but the prana, and that goes through the body. Once you navigate the breath to the various parts, the physical ailments of the body and mental ailments of the body will be addressed. And that is the reason all of these techniques came. And the simplest way, in fact, even before that, is the Anapanasati, which is basically just witness the breath. And I wanted to another point emphasize while Gautama Buddha made it quite famous and he gave the name as Anapanasati, but it's there forever, right? Here we are talking about the Vayu Purana, which is kind of one of the first Puranas. That is basically taken the essence of a Vedas and it is written everywhere across. It's just that that message is lost in translation, and we needed to make it as simple as possible so that every common man understands that breath is our guru and breath is our friend. All we need is a breath, and that's all our Guru Patriji has taught us. So with that, I'll end my short conversation. But I just wanted you to look at the Vayu Purana from this lens. It's not that I want to talk about the Vayu Purana because there is thousands of slokas. We just want to make it simple and look at the lens, and with that, I mean, we can just approach the Vedas or Puranas through a little more scientific way. I think with that I'll end, and in case if you have any questions, I'll take it. Otherwise, we'll go into meditation.
One minute of silence for all this stuff. Yeah, what should I say? Yeah, that's a spellbound session, Praveen. Kind of like for those 20 or 30 minutes odd, I was like kind of thing like thank you so much for all that presentation. So friends, this is a time like if you have any questions, yeah, please raise your hand and unmute yourself and can ask questions like how it is related to our pranavayu and how the meditation is related to vayu. All those kind of questions you can ask now. Why this is very much important, right? Yeah, yes, Srinivas. Yeah, please.
I have some different question.
Yeah,
So if
sure.
this yoga, pranayama and all is helping, right?
Correct.
So, and helps for health and all, correct?
Yes.
So but why still people who does yoga and all, they are becoming ill, they are also getting cancer, they are also going to hospitals, all these things happening, even though they practice yoga, pranayama and every day,
Yeah.
if
So
everybody, including
they
yogi.
are they are addressing at the physical level a manifested form, right? So
Mm,
yoga definitely helps in addressing the manifested form. But I think if you, that's the reason I was actually stressing the topic at the Hiranya Garbha level. The
mm,
desire, the desire created the manifestation through the thoughts, and the thoughts would translate to an energy, and there it translates to those five tattvas. So now the root cause is at the thought level.
mm,
If the thoughts aren't clear, if the thoughts aren't clean, right? Just an example, right? Let's say you don't really have a good thoughts about mm, let's say impure thoughts are there.
mm,
Just making it a
mm.
very simple,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Mm,
That of course it affects liver, because liver is an organ that is meant for a purification. No matter
mm,
how much of exercise that you do through the yoga pranayama,
mm.
that is of course it is going to help you, but
Yeah.
the leakage is coming from the up. So until you fix that, you're not going to
Mm,
do it. So the pranayama or even all of these yoga is actually not an asana. Yoga is basically unite yourself, right? Unite to what? Unite to a cosmic consciousness. But how
yeah.
can you do that? You make sure the body is right, which is the yama niyama, right? So
Mm,
through the
mm.
body, that's how they have given his exercises. Once the
Yeah.
yama is fixed, right? And through the niyama, through the asanas, then you
Mm,
get into the dharana state. Once the dharana state is gone, I mean, are you perfected? You go to the dhyana sthiti. Through the
mm,
dhyana sthiti, you realize the thought, when whatever the thought imbalances are there, you fix
mm,
it through let go or whatever, again, mechanisms to correct it. And once you
mm.
fix it, then you will be free. So all you are doing is, it's like, let's say, are you in IT?
Yeah, yeah, I'm in lighting. Yeah.
Okay. So let's say you got a maybe save one ticket. Okay.
Mm,
Came to you.
mm,
It
mm.
came to your mobile as a
Yeah.
pager.
Mm,
You just deleted the ticket. Did the
mm.
problem go away?
No.
No. let's say, and then because you're not listening, so they send, I mean, whoever is support test
They will
called
escalate.
you,
Yeah.
you're just not listening. And they call your manager,
Mm.
still you're not listening. Then what did they say? Okay, then fine, I'll demote you.
Yeah.
You're still not listening because you're not understanding.
Yeah. Mm.
Unless you know that my responsibility is work towards when the system comes, understand the design problem, fix the problem. Maybe workaround, yes, there are workarounds possible,
Yeah.
which is what the yoga, niyama, and all of that are workarounds. But you go to the root cause, you fix the design, and then the ticket will not go away. I mean, until then, the ticket will not go away. Right? And let's say you continue to do this Natanki. What they do, they'll pass on the ticket to someone else, they'll take you off, which is what soul
Yeah.
does. Right? After a certain period of time, depending on the severity, criticality, and all of that, soul
Yeah.
decides, okay, he's not going to learn, I'll take up. I mean, soul leaves the body. That is the reason. We are only at the very at the symptom level. Symptom level we are at it. That's why all of these stories. Why are we talking about this story? Is you understand the binding force through the Vāyu, get to the primordial consciousness, and then you whatever you're supposed to do, you do it. Right?
So, is there anyone like who practiced all the 8 steps, yama, niyama, dharana, and all, then
See,
attach and then attain the state that you are saying without
you don't
thoughts
have
or
to follow
thoughtless like
everything.
that?
See, you don't have to follow. This is not a step-by-step mechanism. See, from ages, when the Patanjalis wrote this Ashtanga Yoga, people thought they have to follow sequentially. And when Patanjali wrote, probably 4,000 years ago, everyone is stuck at that level, yama level only. Yama, niyama. That's all. They're not even going to get into the dharana, dhyana sthiti.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
only very few gurus are coming. That's why our modern guru Patanjali came and is just twisted. He twisted it. Okay, fine. It is not that you have to follow each and every step to get there, right? You try first, you go to that. Like now, you first go to the dhyana sthiti. Dhyana is not working. Okay, take one level below, which is dharana sthiti. What is dharana? Paying attention to that particular object closely without really opening your mind. That means your dharana will come up. And also says, yeah, that is also not working. Take one step before. Just sit quiet, right? So that your body first understands. Once you start positioning, right? What are we trying to tell during any meditations? The moment you sit in the meditation for 40 minutes, no matter what you do, that's a great success. Why?
So
Because
that
body
is the
start
samadhi.
understanding.
That is the samadhi state in that.
See, samadhi state will be during the dhyana. One of the states is samadhi, right? Samadhi, and then subsequent states are there, right? So don't focus on the result. Just work on the dhyana sthiti. Whatever happens, it happens to you. You don't really work towards that particular state. You just ride along the Vāyu, ride along the breath, and just observe whatever happens. So do not really worry, do not really focus that I want to get to the samadhi sthiti, because this is not something that you are doing it, right? So when you say that I am doing it, then again your body mind is working.
Yeah.
You are not supposed to use your body mind. You just surrender, let go of your body, right? Let go of your mind. Just observe the breath. That is the reason most of our PSSM guru says just don't worry about the result, because the moment you're applying the result, your body mind starts working. Oh, am I getting or not connecting? Am I connecting or not connecting? Just let go. Whatever happens, it happens. And that's how you will be connected to that. You will be connected to, again, once you connect, see, it has to happen. There is no other way. If not this life, maybe next life. Because once you give the control to the wind, right, to the breath, whatever purifications has to happen, it will happen.
I see. So have you seen anyone like who really attained that kind of state?
Thousands of people. I personally know thousands of people.
Oh, then definitely I should be in touch with you. I want to see them.
See, again, that's what I'm saying. See, you just
Any
listen.
difference you see them like while talking or how they
Not a
behave?
show off. See, this is not a proof that I throw the magic wand and it happens. No, it is not. Right? So it has to reflect in the action. So in fact, there is, I mean, do you know Telugu?
Yeah, Telugu, yeah.
Okay. There is one saying, Nindi Kunda Tonakadu. Okay. So most of the PSF masters, many people know it, but they don't really speak up because that is not the way. You're not supposed to use your spiritual powers saying that I know this, I know that, and all of that, right? But what you understand is by watching like many of these meditation sessions, specifically if someone is sharing an experience, just get the wisdom out of it. And there are thousands of videos among the PMC communities. You will see that. Then you realize that all of these people, they're experiencing truth. They're not talking about the theory. They're experiencing what they have. They are basically telling us what they have felt it. When you listen to the wisdom, you don't really have to ask, have you gone to the samadhi state or have you gone to this state? No. You'll get the message what is needed for you. And I'm saying thousands is a smaller number, but definitely there are more. But I'm just giving an example.
Yeah, I want to feel if I feel any difference when I'm talking to them or if I see them, do we feel any difference? That's what I
You
want
need to
to
be
see.
at that level. If you
Oh,
have
we
to
have
see
to
that, you
also
need to
we
be at
also
that level.
have to be that level.
Of course, right?
I
When the
see.
energy, let's say, okay, let's assume that take a maybe a, I mean, since it's all about the frequency, right?
Yeah.
TV runs on a microwave. I
Mm.
mean, certain waves, right? The electronic waves.
Mm.
Microwave also runs in. Mobile also runs on a waves. Can you see the waves?
No.
Are they different? Their frequency is different. If you are at that frequency, you will get it. A signal is transmitting at a certain frequency. You should be able to receive it at that level. So don't go into validation mode. Okay. But question it. It's okay. Questioning is fine. That's how the body mind says it. But once you start understanding the science, see, I can explain the same thing through the quantum physics, through the cellular biology, through the chemistry, and explain everything, all the concepts. Okay.
Yeah.
But again, I mean, this is not the time of that time.
Yeah. I
All
don't
I'm
have to
trying to
spend the
say,
time there. Yeah.
just surrender to the process, listen to it. Of course, you can connect me with me or Arun or so many people are there. So we can explain you. First, but of course, you go through all of this scientific process of it. Because as I said, this is not done by, it's not invented by Gautama Buddha. Well, of course, Gautama Buddha accidentally discovered it, but it is there in Vedas, it is there in the Anapanas, I mean, Vāyu Purāna. It is practiced by Sita Mata, it is practiced by Lord Rama, it is practiced by Lord Krishna. Pretty much everyone has followed the same process. They may have different techniques. It's okay. It is practiced by Babaji. Babaji's technique is now we are calling as a Kriya Yoga. Methods are different, but all of their done was latch onto the breath. Yeah, you can, before latching onto the breath, I do maybe one asana. I do the Nadi Shodhana, that is called maybe Sadguru's techniques. I do Sudarshana Kriya, that is our Ravi Shankar Sar's technique. Those techniques are different. It's okay, but all of them are taking you to the same path.
I see. Yep.
Okay.
I don't want to take too much time on that. So, okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. And we can definitely have I mean follow-up conversation.
Yeah,
Now
if you have any further questions,
Yeah,
Srinivas,
I'll call
request
him
you to
separately.
request you to check with Praveen personally, so you can get a discussion, and you can also join our events where we are again conduct regularly. So that's where you can connect. Yeah.
Yes.
I think we can start our meditation for the next 20 minutes and then we'll wrap it up. Yeah. Thank you.
Arun, do you want me to share or how do you want to do it?